So the National Consumer Commission has launched an investigation into the conduct of Elgin Fruit Juice, the supplier of 100% apple juice concentrate. The company has been identified as the source of South Africa's apple juice recalls. This following recent recalls of 100% apple juice by Coca-Cola Beverages, Pioneer Foods and Woolworths. The National Consumer Commissioner says information provided to it gives it reasonable grounds to believe Elgin Fruit Juice supplied goods that were unsafe or posed a potential risk to the public. If Elgin is found guilty, the Commission will refer the matter to the National Consumer Tribunal, where the company may be liable to pay a fine. Joseph Selolo joins me now, and he's from the National Consumer Commission. Thanks for your time this afternoon. So the company you're pursuing is Elgin Fruit Juices, and they are supplying the toxic concentrate. What exactly went wrong in this regard?
To you and to the viewers, it is not known at this stage what went wrong. What is known is that the producers of the apple juice that you and I buy do procure what is called the apple juice concentrate, and from that they make the apple juice. Now the supplier or the producer of this concentrate is Elgin. What we have then seen is that we've seen a recall from Coca-Cola, from Pioneer Foods and Woolworths. The common denominator is Elgin. Therefore, we then need to investigate to understand the nature and extent of the problem so that we can know what went wrong and see whether they have or they have not contravened the provisions of the Consumer Protection Act.
Yeah, so that contamination we're speaking about is petulin, which forms in rotten apples. Can we say at this early stage that Elgin Fruit Juices may have been using rotten apples in their concentrate?
Yeah, it is some scientific thing that happens there. We really do not know at this stage how the level of the toxin, because the problem is not the toxin itself, but the levels of that toxin. So what then would happen is that if the levels exceed a certain number as regulated, then you start having problems. What needs to be understood is what happened to cause this toxin to be present in these numbers that actually are quite have quite serious health consequences for anyone who consumes such a juice.
Right, so you have initiated a full investigation into the actions of Elgin and what went wrong. What action is likely to be taken against them? What is it that you are pursuing when those investigations have been finalized?
Should the investigation reveal that they indeed have contravened the provisions of the Consumer Protection Act, in that they actually did provide a product to the consumers that is unsafe and is potentially hazardous to consumers, we will then have to prosecute them and seek, amongst others, a fine that can be 10% of their annual turnover or 1 million, whichever is the greater between the two.
Right, and then just a final thought from you. Have you got a sense of how widespread the contaminated juices went? We saw, because it's three big producers, Pioneer Foods, Woolworths and Coca-Cola. Does the Commission have a sense of how widespread those contaminated juices went?
Not at this stage, but you would remember an entity like Coca-Cola does not, even though it produces in South Africa, does not only supply its products to South Africa alone. Some of it go beyond our borders. And we do not know at this stage whether the target of the investigation, being Elgin, did also supply other producers that we may not know of at this stage. But I think it is safe at this stage to assume that the extent is quite large.
Thank you for those insights there, Joseph Selolo from the National Consumer Commission, giving us an update on those contaminated juices, and now in making the announcement that an investigation has now been initiated against the culprit.